What is going on YouTube? N64 here, I'm back. Thanks for tuning in again as always, it's very much appreciated. What we're going to go through on this video is episode 7 of Mission N64 239. On that, we're aiming to complete and review all 239 UK Power N64 games. That's right, all of them. We're 6 episodes in now, so we've beaten 6 games already. And we're on to the 7th game, which is 007, The World Is Not Enough. Childhood game of mine, actually, so this episode isn't an episode of discovery for me in terms of like Mischief Maker certainly was. So I owned this back in the day, not when it came out though originally. I was still a child when I bought this. I think I bought this about 2001, 2002, so the N64 was certainly out of print by that point. The world had moved on. We were certainly onto Dreamcast, possibly even PS2 at that point, I think, by the time I got this. And I got this from a shop in Bromsgrove High Street called Replay Games, and they sold contemporary games, but they also sold previous generations, particularly N64. And I picked up a few boxed N64 games from there over the years after the N64 had been and gone, including World Cup '98. I remember getting that from £9.99 complete in box. And I also picked up this bad boy for £14.99. And I've already explained on the channel that, you know, I used to like James Bond, and I was always keen to get this once I saw that it had come out, but I never sort of saw it in the shops as such, and it wasn't a game that I really came across. And then I was looking for it for quite a long time, and that was the first time I'd come across it in person to see it. And you know, to be a game that I bought myself, I still class this as a childhood game, even though I got it secondhand and several years after the N64 had sort of dwindled out. You know, I was still only probably about 12 or 13 at the time, so I'm still a child really when I bought this. So yeah, technically I had it back in the day, albeit a little bit late to the party. And yeah, I was really fond of this game. You know, I like James Bond. They improved on GoldenEye in a lot of ways. I'll touch on those in the review when we get into that in a minute. But yeah, it had a multiplayer which was, you know, pretty good as well, but it didn't touch the heights of GoldenEye or Perfect Dark thereafter. So that didn't really gain much traction for me in my household or with my friends and stuff like that. But I did enjoy the solo player, and for the purpose of this video, I'm only going to complete it on Secret Agent. I did say on this mission that I would be going down the middle on difficulty settings. It's only because 00 Agent, it does get a little bit harder, a few more missions, and I've got less time to dedicate to this. I just want to sort of zoom through the game, get through it quite quickly. I haven't played this game in a long time, so it's all going to be pretty new to me. And I don't know it like the back of my hand like GoldenEye. I've only completed the game a couple of times ever, really, 2, maybe 3 times at most. It's not a game I played over and over and over again like GoldenEye, so I don't think I can zoom through this terribly quickly, but I think on Secret Agent I probably will be able to do it a lot faster than 00 Agent. So yeah, without further ado then, let's get into it and we'll start reviewing 007, The World Is Not Enough. Voiceover N64 here, I'm back. So yeah, 007 The World Is Not Enough then. It was developed by Eurocom, who built the engine for the game, and it was published by Electronic Arts, who had the license for the Bond franchise and to build a game at that point in time. It was released on the 8th of December in the year 2000 in Europe for the N64. It is different to the PS1 counterpart, who had a different developer for that game, and for the most part it is better on the N64. The level design's better frame rate, and it does have a multiplayer option up to 4 players, which the PS1 version did not have. So yeah, here we are on Secret Agent mode, right onto the first level, and I'm already noticing that there's voices on the game, which is really good, unlike GoldenEye where you had to read the dialogue on the screen. It's just a good bonus to have this sort of thing in an N64 game, really. It's what the N64 was capable of, but certainly wasn't apparent in some of the earlier games. And yeah, even though the voice acting isn't by the official actors, the appearances, official likenesses are used, and it is actually John Cleese who voices R, so they did get one of the guys to reprise their role. The game does make good use of FMV, free motion video, like we're seeing now, and it helps piece the game, the story together, helps stitch everything together correctly, all the missions and so on, with interludes like this, really. You know, as you'd expect, you're James Bond and you have a series of missions to complete, which are in line with how the film generally goes. Some levels you have to be more stealthy than others, and some are just run and gun and shoot your way through, like this level. And you know, like the film, you've got that gun that detonates and takes out the people around you. And then yeah, the aim of this sort of first mission is to get the money, King's money, and yeah, escape really. But it's just a good introduction to the game, really. Get used to how the weapons work, how the shooting works, get used to some of the gadgets used and stuff like that. I thought that this was a very good introductory level. Here I am using a safe cracker to get into the safe, to get a key card, and it's just, this level flows quite well. As you can see, the AI isn't the most intelligent, but I guess I am on secret agent mode. It is something that I noticed the AI wasn't up there with GoldenEye, in my opinion, but I don't know if I'm being biased because I'm on secret agent. Perhaps it gets a bit more intelligent on Double O Agent. I have beaten the game on Double O Agent, but I can't remember really. It's so long ago. But yeah, here I am collecting King's money, one of the objectives, and then all you have to do from here is escape. That's the end of the first level. You finish with a little bit of FMV, a bit of a cutscene, as most levels do. And then you go to a summary screen. It tells you your mission objectives that have completed. You get the option to save your game. The game does require a memory pack to save, which is a slight inconvenience, but not unreasonable given the quality of the game, really. You can use a rumble pack on this game, which is good. And straight into the second level here in the MI5 or MI6 as in the James Bond world building. And yeah, sort of having to escape from this building. There's some appropriate missions in there. You have to go down to Q Branch and eventually get in the boat to escape and chase the assailant. The aesthetics to the game feel really good. The reload animations like that feel, more realistic. It's like they improved on GoldenEye in little subtle ways like that. You can see the bullet casings flying off. I'm just doing a mission here where you have to save M and get her to safety. It looks like Judi Dench there. The lightness is on point. I'm not sure about her height. She looks really tall, almost as tall as Bond, which is clearly not accurate, but yeah, fair enough. Here the bullet casings flying, the gun sounds, the gun reloading, just the total aesthetics feel good. It's worth mentioning, I guess, that your health is in the top left. It's like a bar, and obviously the lower that goes, the lower you are to being dead. You can collect body armor in certain places. I guess it's more sparse on the harder difficulty on Double O Agent, but yeah, definitely comes in handy to pick up body armor where you can. But yeah, getting to the business end of this level now, and thoroughly enjoyed. And yeah, you get onto a boat. There's a little bit of a boat chase in FMV, and then there's a few added levels that aren't strictly from the film where you're chasing that female assailant who's like working with Renard, who eventually kills herself on the balloon by shooting the gas canister. But yeah, here's a bit of me using one of the gadgets, the grapple watch. But yeah, I suppose I should talk about the gadgets at this stage, really. There's an improved gadget range on this game, much improved from the watch laser sort of days of GoldenEye. There's also the dart watch from Moonraker, I guess, where you tranquilize but don't kill your enemies. That comes in handy on Double O Agent on the bank level, because you have a mission where you can't kill casualties that work for the bank, but they will shoot you, so you have to basically kill them or sedate them with a dart. But there's other gadgets like the safe cracker, the X-ray glasses, numerous other gadgets really that just make the game feel more like Bond. I'm on an extra level here, which is like in the London Underground, and you got to defuse this bomb, and you eventually finish the level chasing that female assailant onto the balloon, which you'll see in a moment. But yes, even though the dock level and the London Underground level aren't strictly from the film per se, they don't feel like they shouldn't be there, or that they don't belong. They don't feel like filler. They do feel appropriate, and yeah, the missions on the game overall are varied, and they are named aptly as well. The first mission is called Courier, which is like basically carrying the money that eventually kills King in the MI6 building. The Thames Chase, where you're going along the Thames, and yeah, just cold reception for the skiing level and stuff like that. Just the game, the levels were all aptly named and quite interesting, really. I thought that some thought gone into those. Moving on to this next level, you have to be a lot more stealthy. You have to escape from your room where you're staying with Electra, and yeah, to sort of avoid alerting enemies. And one of Electra's goons, I can't remember his name now, but there, yeah, you have to dig some dirt on Davidoff and ultimately follow him, which leads into the following level where you essentially steal his identity. And yeah, a good mix of missions on here where you have to scramble the cameras, so it allows you to progress in the level. You have to tap the phones, and yeah, just a general different feel to the level and a different dynamic. It's a bit more of a finesse Bond rather than a run and gun sort of Bond. There's a good range of weapons on this game: crossbow, harpoon, sniper rifles, machine guns, machine pistols. There's dual settings on the gun, so you can screw a silencer on and off at your leisure on your Walther. I just thought the gun range was good. And yeah, here we are moving on to my favourite level really. It's the one where Renard's trying to steal the nuclear bomb. And yeah, you just sort of everything about this level feels like the film. They've got the dress codes down to a T for the enemies and their blue outfits. Just everything. You have to steal the locator card from the bomb here, and it's just like a nice touch. The way you escape in a minute, you see Renard through the bulletproof glass and you can't shoot him. There is a cutscene that I haven't filmed as well where he says there's no point in living if you can't feel alive, that old quote, and you just can't shoulder the responsibility. It's just like it feels like the film really. They've really nailed this, and yeah, just the way you escape here, they've nailed it to a T. You have to run and jump and grab onto the chains, and it brings in a cutscene. Actually, not the end of the level. You still have to go on to escape, but you have to use the watch grapple, like similar to the film. It's just really good, really. This whole level felt good. It looked good. Just flowed really well, really. So yeah, thoroughly enjoyed this level. And yeah, that leads into the next level, which is like split into two. It's the Zhukovsky caviar plant. I'm just circling the BMW Z4 here, and I thought it was interesting because that looks nothing like a BMW or a Z4. They obviously didn't have the license to sort of use the BMW car, which is odd really, because they had the rights to the whole franchise really, and they be able to use the characters' likenesses, although they didn't get the character voices. But yeah, they obviously didn't have permission from BMW to use their car, which is odd really, because you would have thought that they would have been on board for the free advertising, but for whatever reason they clearly weren't allowed to use the BMW for that. But yeah, I did enjoy this level on the caviar factory really, and it's very realistic again. You've got them helicopters that are trying to chop you up, and yeah, just interesting missions here. You have to find your way to Zhukovsky's car, which in the film gets flooded, doesn't it, I think, and yeah, you have to destroy this helicopter, which is quite an interesting mission. And yeah, just fun all round really. This is a more run and gun kind of level. There's no stealth involved in this. And I haven't mentioned yet, but instead as Bond you punch rather than chop like on GoldenEye, so that was an improvement to this game, where it's a bit more realistic that you can punch your enemies out rather than slap them with a karate chop, as it were. Fast forwarding on from here, you head to Istanbul. There's a level where you go through the town and chase Bullion. Then we move on to the level after that here, where you kill him there, and you have to steal his fingerprint, which is pretty good in order to progress in the level. You have to use a little fingerprint scanner gadget, which is pretty cool. And this level was pretty fun really, where you chase Electra down. And I will say, because I haven't mentioned yet, but on Secret Agent mode, and I'm not sure if it's removed on 00 Agent, it probably is. It was crazy auto aim on this, maybe to assist really and help, but I don't remember it being on 00 Agent, but I noticed it was crazy on Secret Agent mode. Like, you don't even have to be pointing at an enemy, just in the general direction, and the auto lock would just lock right on, and just made it a bit too easy really in the shooting regard, but maybe a bit too helpful. But yeah, here I am rescuing M, and then a little cutscene, then you end up taking out Electra's goon here, just punching his lights out and stunning him before I blow his head off. And then yeah, cut to Electra, and yeah, we all know what happens here in the film. He puts a bullet in her. She, for whatever reason, her bit of arrogance, doesn't think that Bond will kill her, but he does. And yeah, nice little cutscene here, like the film. You jump into the water and head for the submarine. Here I am trying to be stealthy, screwing a silencer on. And yeah, I like this level. It's fun. You have to try and get aboard the submarine. And this one is a bit more stealth involved, because there are alarms that will go off if you're not stealthy and if you get caught. I thought that the music was really good on this game, particularly on the second part of the submarine level. Really gets the adrenaline going, especially when you're like underwater and you're trying to search for oxygen. It really just gets the adrenaline pumping. This was really tricky to navigate really, because it's not the easiest, and yeah, the music's just really exhilarating on this level. Really thoroughly enjoyed this. Yeah, it's a bit of a underwater maze inside the submarine, and you have to sort of find your way to Renard, finding little pockets of air as you go like this, and yeah, it's quite a bit of a perplexing maze to navigate, but you can find your way there, and once you make it to Renard here, you take a few goons out, and then yeah, push that button there, and it'll shoot the missile into Renard and kill him, much like in the film. And yeah, it's quite realistic, although a bit anticlimactic in the sense that he's not very difficult to beat. I suppose to make it more realistic, that is the way to do it, but it would have been fun to have a bit of a showdown with him, a bit of a fight beforehand, I guess, like in the film, but you don't really have any of that fisticuffs with him. And then, yeah, you just sort of escape, really, and then it comes to the cutscene where Christmas and Bond are swimming. And then, yeah, you sort of get to a final cutscene then, much like in the film. So, yeah, I really enjoyed this game. I knew I would. Good trip down memory lane. And, yeah, it's one of those games that's an adaptation of a film, and they did a really good job of it. There's not many games that you can say that about, really. A lot of time they fall short, but, you know, they really did pay good homage to the film here, stayed true to the film, and they did a really good job. If there's one drawback, it's probably that there's probably not enough levels, and, you know, 14 is a little bit short, but no, it's definitely enough to get your teeth into, and it's enjoyable. And even on Secret Agent, it's not the easiest. I definitely spent a couple of times doing certain levels and died a few times, but it's all fun and games. Really enjoyed this one, so if you've never played it, I would recommend giving it a go. So that's it, guys. 007 The World Is Not Enough is now complete. Thoroughly enjoyed this game. Pleasant trip down memory lane once again. Yeah, so compared to like GoldenEye, yeah, it's a little bit different. It improves on it in so many ways. You know, you've got the FMV, free motion video, so it allows more cutscenes, and it gives the game a bit more continuity and stitches things together, stitches levels together. And it makes it more realistic, of course. You've got the voices instead of having to read in the dialogue across the screen from GoldenEye. I know that GoldenEye were on a budget and they were trying to make the ROM size as small as possible. If you watch rare interviews, they were on a mission to get the file size down, and so they had to cut bars out of music and stuff like that. But, you know, there's no expense spared with The World Is Not Enough. They used voices. Okay, it weren't the real actor voices, but they were pretty close. You know, they sound reasonable enough. Bond does sound like a Bond. Yeah, they just improved the weapon range, a good range of weapons. The gadget range was really good. It really felt like a Bond game using these gadgets like your Q-Claw watch and stuff like that, which there weren't as many gadgets on GoldenEye, so they definitely improved on that. If I did have one little criticism, I'd say the game's a little bit short. There's no levels to pad the game out. Every level feels like it belongs, which is a good thing, but obviously there's only 14 of them, and one of those is the Zhukovsky caviar plant, and that's broken down into 2 levels, so arguably it's one level really broken into 2, so all of a sudden the game does feel a little bit quick. It's trickier than I remember. Even though I was on Secret Agent, I did die quite a few times. There's certain times of the game where it does get a bit tricky. The submarine level, you save Christmas and you got enemies spraying shotguns everywhere, and if the bullets go past you and kill her, then it's mission over. The level on skis was a bit tricky as well, fun but tricky, and so yeah, it's just thoroughly enjoyable. And I imagine it is a little bit harder on 00 Agents. It definitely gives you a challenge, more missions and so on to complete. I thought the missions were good, the levels were good, everything was well designed, everything stitched together really well. So yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it. So yeah, I'm going to give this a solid 8 out of 10. The general consensus seems to be somewhere between 7 and 9. I think I'm going to land in the middle at 8. I thought it's a really good game. The multiplayer, it has multiplayer unlike the PS1 version, so that's a bonus, but I just don't think it's up there with GoldenEye or Perfect Dark. So it's a nice feature, but it just never captured that sort of audience really, because it's just not as good. But it's nice to have that. So yeah, it's just a fun game. If we refer back to the magazine, because I think that's going to be a useful point to refer to as I do these reviews. The World Is Not Enough, 88%, great Bond shooter, the true successor to GoldenEye. Bit niggly in places and pales in comparison to Perfect Dark. So yeah, give it a good review, but it's quite candid there, saying that Perfect Dark's the better game, and certainly the better multiplayer, I guess. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed The World Is Not Enough, and I thought it is a really fun game, and it's definitely one you should try if you haven't already. I thought that the ratings was a bit PG, so there was no blood or anything like that. It wasn't very realistic in that regard. I don't think the AI was overly great, certainly not on Secret Agent. Maybe it gets a bit more interesting on 00 Agent. I can't remember, it's been so long. But yeah, I just felt like the GoldenEye AI was a bit more intelligent than The World Is Not Enough. Nevertheless, it's a thoroughly enjoyable playthrough and a good plethora of levels to get through, different range of levels. Okay, there's only 14 of them, but there is enough to get your teeth into there. Maybe it could have been better if they added a few bonus levels from previous Bond films, kind of odd that they had in GoldenEye with the Aztec and Egyptian levels. They were a nice touch, and perhaps EA could have added some bonus material in there or something like that. But overall, thoroughly enjoyed the game and I recommend you play it. So yeah, that about does it for episode 7 of Mission N64239. Hope you enjoyed it, guys. If you did enjoy it, please whack a thumbs up. It really helps the channel out. Appreciate all you guys that have been giving thumbs up on the videos. It's helped the channel immensely. I'll be dropping a video later this week because there's been a couple more pickups, so I think it'd be useful to go through them and share those with you and make some good content. If you're new, please consider subscribing. We're still very early into this Mission N64239 journey. We're going to go and complete all 239 UK Power N64 games, but I do provide other content as well. Real talk about gaming things, retro gaming, contemporary gaming, and obviously I go on game hunts and pick things up and go through my pickups as well. So yeah, there's good variety to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.